Hey, what is up guys? Epic Pokemon TCG here, and today guys, I'm going to be covering my top 10 cards from the Sun and Moon Guardians Rising set. Now, these are going to be cards that I feel are going to be the ones impacting the format the most. These aren't specifically my favorite cards, but they're the ones that I think are going to, come in and improve decks, they're going to hurt decks, they're going to be good against certain top decks in the format, and stuff like that. Now, I'm also excluding reprints, so things like double colorless energy and such that got reprinted in the set are not going to be included on the list. But without any further ado, let's get into the video. So this is not going to be in any order, but starting off at number 10, we're going to be talking about Sylveon GX. Now, Sylveon GX was actually originally on my underrated list. I'm also doing a top 10 underrated list, so if you're seeing this video, stay tuned for that because it should be out later this week. But Sylveon GX is actually a very interesting card just because of the fact that I didn't even look it up on my phone, Jesus Christ. So I forgot to look it up. I wanted to make sure I give you guys the exact wording so that way I don't, mess up anything here. But it's first attack for 1 fairy energy. Search your deck for up to 3 cards and put them in your hand. Then you shuffle your deck. If you don't get hit by in, I feel like this could be a good way to just grab some resources for the next turn and just, get yourself set up. And, if you just depending on what your board is and how your field's looking, this could really help you out. Then it has Fairy Wind for just 110 damage, and the reason why I think this is very good is because not only can you play Sylveon, but you can play things like Jolteon EX, or not Jolteon EX, Jolteon, Vaporeon, and Flareon, which could give you different weaknesses to hit. Flareon, of course, being for Decidueye and Vileplume. Jolteon could be for stuff like Evital EX, Lugia EX, and then, of course, Vaporeon could be for things like Volcanion EX. So, a lot of different options there. On top of that, Sylveon already hits Giratina EX pretty hard. So, that's very good. And you can get this card out very easily by just attaching a Fairy Energy to the Energy Evolution Eevee and getting it right on the board right off the bat. And then it actually has a pretty good GX attack. You put 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon and all cards attached to them back in their hand. So if your opponent is setting up stuff on the bench and they have 2 attackers ready to go, you can set them back a couple turns by just putting them back into their hand, which is very good. Like if they have a couple Pokemon out with like a couple energy on them, and just really if you're just in a very tight spot, you can just put them back and just set them back and then take control of the board. And on top of that, the 110 damage that Fairy Wind has just one shot to Shaman without any if they don't have a Fighting Fairy belt on it, of course. But you just bring it up and one shot a Shaman, and you don't have to worry about resistance. You don't have to worry about anything like that, which is very good. I feel like Sylveon could be a card that just kind of adds to Eevees being very good. And then, of course, you also have Choice Band to look at, which can increase your damage even more. And it's just all around a very strong card, I believe, and just gives you something to use. And I think that it will definitely impact the format just because Umbreon and Espeon are both very good, and I think Sylveon doesn't fall too far behind. I really apologize if you hear my chair squeaking at any point because it's getting pretty annoying. But the next one I have on this list is going to be Garbodor. Now, Garbodor is a very interesting card. It is pretty neat. And I feel like for, I guess, decks that already play Garbodor in them, this could be very easy to splash in, especially for Mewtwo decks if you play Mega Mewtwo Garbodor. This could be a late game card that could really, swing things in your favor. So what it does, it has an attack for a Psychic Energy, and it does 20 times the amount for each item card in your opponent's discard pile. And we know item cards are very popular. There's Ultra Ball, there is VS Seeker, Choice Band is coming into the format. We have Trainer's Mail, we have Spirit Links, all kinds of stuff are in the format. So late game, if you get a Garbodor down, put a Psychic Energy on it, and you could just kind of hit for a ton of damage. And then on top of that, Garbodor only gives up 1 prize. And then also has a pretty annoying second attack. For Acid Spray, it has a Psychic and a DCE. Flip a coin to defense, discard energy for your opponent's active Pokemon. I feel like that could be pretty good. Now, honestly, this card is going to be limited to what you can really put it in. It has to be something like, has a Psychic attacker or run Psychic Energy. If you play something like Espeon, Garbodor, I've even seen, you can run it in there. Mega Mewtwo, Espeon, Mega Mewtwo, Garbodor, like I mentioned, are probably the decks you could really throw it in there. On top of that, I feel like Psychic got a big boost from the set, just because, of course, Tapu Lele and now Garbodor giving you another attacker that you could just kind of go with. So Garbodor, don't really need to explain too much there. It just basically hits for a ton of damage late game or a decent amount mid game, and just gives up 1 prize. It only takes 1 energy to put, to just attack. So pretty decent card. So the next card we're going to be talking about is going to be Choice Band. Now, Choice Band is a card that I would probably rank in my top 4 for this set of cards that I think are going to impact the format. Choice Band is just all around a very strong card. Some decks couldn't utilize Fighting Fairy Belt. The only thing they could really use was Floatstone. Things like Eevees, Zoroark, and some other decks really didn't benefit from Fighting Fairy Belt, and I feel like Choice Band is going to go into these decks and make them a lot better. When you think about it, Zoroark is hitting for how much damage your opponent has, like Pokemon on their bench, and then giving you that extra 30 damage, and then Espeon could be getting a Choice Band thrown onto it, so it's hitting for how many energy is on your opponent's Pokemon, and then has that extra 30. Umbreon hitting for 90, now it's going to be hitting for 120. And on top of that, you have things like the Evolutions that you can throw into your deck that can add the damage to it. And you can honestly throw this onto GoLisa Pod, which is a card we're going to cover next. That is just going to be hitting those big EX and GX Pokemon already. And you throw this on there, it's going to be hitting even harder. Choice Band is just all around a very interesting card, and a card that I feel like is going to impact the format greatly and give those evolution decks a huge boost. And also, some decks are also going to be running into the, like the huge question of, do I want to play Fighting Fairy Belt and get that extra HP, or do I want to play Choice Band and get that 30 extra damage? Or do I want to mix the two? Do I want to see which one I like more? And that's honestly very exciting, because you're going to be able to see a lot of people's different points of views, because I feel like you can make arguments for both cards on which one would benefit which decks more. Yveltal is a deck that you can throw different arguments about. Do I want to have a big tank that could hit for a lot of damage, or do I want to have a regular HP Yveltal hitting for even more damage? Pretty awesome, honestly. So I honestly had to put Choice Band on here because I think it is one of the best cards coming out of this set, and one of the best cards that I think we'll see for a few sets now. So definitely had to throw that on this list. So next up we have GoLisa Pod, which is actually probably my second favorite Pokemon from the Sun and Moon generation, besides Lycanroc, the Midnight form, or Moon form, whatever the hell it's called. But this card's really good. Honestly, it has an ability called Armor, and basically this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. It has 130 HP, which is actually not too bad. It's a grass type, so it also benefits from Forest of Giant Plants, which is really awesome. And the art looks absolutely sick. But on top of that, it has a very good attack in Resolute Claws, is what this site is saying, because I didn't pull the card. I'm so sad about it. But it does 80 plus damage, and also has some synergy with Choice Band. Resolute Claws, 80, and then if your opponent's active is a Pokemon GX or Pokemon EX, this attack does 70 more damage. So if you throw a Choice Band onto GoLisa Pod, you're also getting the effect of Choice Band 2, which essentially turns this attack into 70 plus 100 more damage. Or 80 plus 100 more damage, excuse me. So you're going to be able to hit those big Pokemon EX and GX for 180 damage, and then on top of that, you're tanking 30 and only giving up 1 prize whenever it's knocked out. So very good card. It definitely has a lot of potential there, and I'm definitely going to be trying this card out in some decks and seeing how I like it. So the next card featured on this list is going to be Multiswitch. Now this is a card I feel like opens up a lot of different plays and scenarios for certain decks, and that's why I think it deserves a spot on this list. What this card does, it allows you to move an energy attached to one of your bench Pokemon to your active. Now it doesn't specify whether or not this card has to be a basic energy or not, so it could be any energy in general, so you can move a DCE to your active, and I think that's very good. Yeah, definitely had to throw this card on the list just because I think it makes a lot more decks interesting and opens up a lot of plays for the field, which is very good. Now the next card we're going to be talking about is Drampa GX, aka Snoop Falcor, as I like to call it. This has 3 very interesting attacks, and all of them are colorless, which is why I think this card is a lot better. It has Righteous Edge for 20, and you discard a special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Now, if you throw a Choice Band and you hit a GX or EX, this can turn into 50 in a discard. If you throw a Fighting Fairy Belt, this could be 30 in a discard, and then it turns into a 220 HP Pokemon that's able to discard energy, which is very good. And then it has Berserk for 80 plus damage. If your bench Pokemon have any damage counters on them, this attack does 70 more damage. So with Choice Band, this is going to turn into a 180 attack. If your opponent if your Pokemon just have 10 damage on them, any one of them, this attack is doing a lot of damage. And then Big Wheel GX, shuffle your hand into your deck and then draw 10 cards. Now, of course, N is an issue in the format, but let's say you don't get N, that's 10 cards, and that opens up a lot of potential for your next turn. And you can potentially turn the game in your favor, or just get like a huge hand and just start, exploding on the field, which is really good. But I think this card, just having these colorless attacks, makes it a lot better. Being able to discard energy and then just have like a big attack is very good. And all around, Drampa definitely I think is one of the top GX Pokemon in general. And definitely a card that I'm going to be trying to get my hands on and testing out in different decks, seeing how I like it. Oh yeah, also I think this actually could help out GoLisa Pod. I think that'd be a cool card to kind of combine together. So some ideas there. Alright, so the next card is going to be Aqua Patch. Now Aqua Patch is a card that I'm kind of dreading, but I still have to include it on this list because it is extremely powerful. So water Pokemon were already pretty good, especially Lapras being a card. Quad Lapras was a deck getting a lot of tournament success, I think. With this card, basically water Pokemon have 3 different attachments now that they can benefit from if they're basic Pokemon, that is. That is the attachment from your hand. Of course, you have Max Elixir, and then you have Aqua Patch to go from. So the energy acceleration for these, like just for water Pokemon now, is absolutely insane. We saw how Dark Patch impacted the format and made Dark Pokemon a lot better, and I think Aqua Patch is going to have similar results. On top of that, you have a wide variety of water Pokemon you can attack with, like Glaceon EX, you have Lapras GX, you have so many different. You have Regice, and I'm probably missing something, but yeah, just the wide variety of water Pokemon that you have that you can include in decks. And then, of course, we have that Alolan Ninetales coming out, which is definitely a very big card. So I think Aqua Patch, probably besides Choice Band, and of course Field Blower, which I'll cover next, is probably the biggest cards in this set. So yeah. So this next card I'm going to do off of memory. I hope I remember the text correctly. And that's going to be Field Blower. Basically what this is going to do, it allows you to discard up to 2 in any combination of Stadium and Tool cards, I believe. I hope I'm not wrong on that. But basically this is the card a lot of people were asking for a long time because Garbodor was just so dang strong. Because there was no way to discard the Tool and get rid of that. This card is going to allow you to get rid of Stadiums, which I think is also a very nice touch to the card. It'll allow you to discard Spirit Links, which is a big thing. Fighting Fairy Belt, if decks are still playing Fighting Fairy Belt, if you discard a Pokemon or discard a Fighting Fairy Belt off of a Pokemon that is extremely damaged, then you have that potential to knock them out. Trust me, I've seen that with Starling Megaphone and Expanded, so I feel like this could have similar results. Of course, Fighting Fairy Belt might not be as popular with Choice Band coming out, but still that's an idea to throw around. You can discard Float Stones off a Pokemon, and you can discard Stadiums, like if you just don't draw into a Stadium or something like that, or maybe you don't play a counter Stadium for some reason. This will give you a way besides Delinquent to get rid of their Stadium, and I feel like Field Blower honestly could be a staple, and I feel like maybe a 1 or 2 of in a lot of decks, if not all decks. So Field Blower definitely deserves a spot on this list. And now we're going to get into the top 2 cards, and hopefully you've enjoyed the video so far. But before we get into that, I've got to give an honorable mention to one of the funniest cards in this set that I absolutely love. As soon as I find it, there it is. It is the Machop that looks like it is dabbing. In case you guys don't know this, I love the dab, even though it's kind of dead. I still love it. So Machop, I love you. So I realized that the number 1 spot for this list should be extremely obvious, and if it wasn't, I feel like I might get some dislikes already because of some of the cards I mentioned on this list. But this originally was number 1, but I thought, I should probably switch number 1 and 2. But just know this is my personal favorite. This is the card that I feel like is my like the number 1 card I was excited to see come out, and that is going to be Lycanroc GX. But if you guys have not figured it out already, the number 1 spot is extremely obvious. So yeah, we're just going to cover this, and we're going to move into that one because I feel like that one's going to be one that's going to take some time to discuss. So Lycanroc GX, of course, has Bloodthirsty Eyes. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. So from that wording alone, I imagine this is going to be a Lysander, basically. So if you play 4 Lycanroc like this, or even 3 with one of the promos, that essentially is going to open you up to so many more Lysanders throughout the game, which is absolutely insane. Being able to just bring up stuff a lot more throughout the game is going to be it's going to be insane. And then it has a Claw Slash for 110 damage. If you pair this up with Evolutions, this is going to turn into 220. And then Choice Band, of course, is going to make this attack hit even harder. So that 110 is going to turn into 140, and then you can start hitting for weakness. Along with bringing up stuff off the bench is going to be so strong. And then its GX attack is 50 times for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So this already has some synergy with Zoroark. And so that's definitely very awesome. Lycanroc, I think, is my favorite card coming out of this set just because of the potential that it has. And it is my favorite Pokemon from Sun and Moon, which is absolutely awesome. I love any time that the TCG prints one of my favorite Pokemon and makes it good, makes it really playable. Now, if only they can do that with Blaziken, I'd be a very happy man. But yeah, Lycanroc, just being able to like basically have a built-in Lysander ability, being able to hit for weakness, and then being able to just bring up Shaymins and having a choice band and one-shotting them is insane. So, all right, so on to number 1. It is going to be Tapu Lele GX. I feel like if you do a list at all of the top 10 cards in general of this set, Tapu Lele better at least be mentioned in this in that list, and very close to number 1. So it has the ability Wonder Tag. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may search your deck for a supporter card, reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle your deck. This is basically Jirachi EX's ability, and when you think about it, this turns Ultra Ball into a guaranteed supporter basically, and that was just so strong. Of course, Jirachi could benefit from Level Ball, but this card makes up for that with the attack Energy Drive. Now this is basically Mewtwo EX's Energy, or it was X-Ball. X-Ball, not Energy Ball. What the hell am I talking about? 20 times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. Of course, this isn't affected by weakness or resistance, but still, when you think about it, that is a very strong card because not only are you getting a guaranteed supporter, but you're getting a very solid attacker. Now, I've seen people talking about this card isn't good just because it doesn't hit for weakness, which is probably the most ignorant thing I will ever hear in the Pokemon TCG. This card is extremely strong and is going to be at least 2 of in every single deck because of the fact that its attack is a colorless energy cost, and then you're guaranteed a supporter, and it's just incredible, honestly. This card is so good. And then it has Tapu Cure GX, which takes a Psychic Energy, and you heal all damage from 2 of your bench Pokemon. So if you're just absolutely getting destroyed, you can throw a Psychic Energy down, of course if you're playing Psychic Energy that is, and then heal 2 of your bench Pokemon, which is so strong. And the prices of this card right now are pretty much, I think, they're ridiculous, but at the same time you can honestly look at it and say, you know, this is going to be this is the most sought out card in this set. It's because it's so strong and so good. Now, I actually want to do a video talking about how Tapu Lele actually, you know, what it does for the format and like the decks it's going to benefit. But overall, this card is very good. It's 170. It's a basic, and now you got to think about Ultra Ball is a guaranteed supporter basically. And then at the same time, you also have to wonder if we're ever going to see a card that's basically like Hoopa EX, but it's for GX Pokemon. And cards like Pokemon Fan Club also are going to be a guaranteed supporter for the next turn. And then if you're able to pick this card up, you're going to have another supporter. So Tapu Lele GX, though it is not my favorite, even though I love this card, it's probably the best card in this entire set when you even consider trainers and such. So yeah, that's just it. That's my personal top 10 list. There might be some cards in this set that I missed. I know there are good stadiums coming out, are already out, whenever you are watching this video. And you know, I know I missed some cards, but let me know down in the comment section below if there are any things that like I might have missed, any cards that you like personally. And that's about it for me. That is my top 10 list. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like it, subscribe for more content. It'll be much appreciated. And this is Epic Pokemon TCG signing out.